Oh, Kathy's here. We are live. I'll wait till people show up. I think I'm live. Yes, I am. There's nobody in the room yet. Oh, Darren just showed up. All right, so I'm going to talk about what's going on, and then we'll bring on a guest. Hey, hey, hey! Glad you're here, all of you. So I set this up on StreamYard tonight. It's Monday. It's the last day of June. You're all showing up. It's June 30th. The moon is in Virgo. And we have a lot of things to go over as usual. So I'm on my StreamYard service now. And I decided to invite Kathy Beal so that we could chit chat for a little while about what's going on. Can everyone hear me okay? Let me know if all is good, if the audio is good. Can you I just need a sound check. You can hear. Okay, just checking. All right. So we are going to go over a few things, and I'm going to just have a conversation with Kathy about what to expect astrologically, what influences are going on. We're going into July tomorrow. Get those rent checks ready. And let's bring Kathy on. It's a little treat for our holiday week. Let's. Here's Kathy. Oh, you're black and I'm white.
That's funny.
How are things in New Jersey today? Did you go swimming?
No.
You didn't? Is it hot there
No.
today?
It turned out to not be warm enough to do it, and a storm is coming in, and I got to check my audio settings because I'm hearing an echo on me.
On you, but not on me, because I have a microphone that I'm using, so sometimes it echoes. I don't hear an echo from you. You are?
Okay. No, I'm hearing me.
Yeah, you're on a delay. Do you want to leave and come back in? Sometimes that clears everything up. Okay, so she's going to leave and come back in. So how is everyone doing? I hope you enjoyed the festivities. I did my best to bring them to you over the weekend. St. Peter's Fiesta in Gloucester, Massachusetts happens every last weekend of June, every year for 98 years, and it starts on Wednesday night and goes through Sunday night. And I just wanted you all to experience, from my relaying what was going on here, I wanted you all to experience community. Yes, I wanted you really to get into community spirit, because that's what saves us and that's what saves democracy. So I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I couldn't really live stream because the Wi-Fi was wonky wherever I went. All right, we're going to bring Kathy back. Bring Kathy back. Let's see. Oh, technology gods, please cooperate.
Okay. No, I'm hearing an echo.
Huh.
Just a second.
Okay. So we'll just continue chatting. You were surprised that people were singing our national. Well, let me just address this. Hang on. Electra Storm was surprised that people were singing our national anthem and God Bless America. I just want to say that this is the closing ceremonies last night at St. Peter's Fiesta. That's a tradition every year. So think about 98 years of the closing ceremonies where they walk this big statue through the streets. I didn't actually walk this year, but I usually do. And then they came back here and the band broke into the Star Spangled Banner that happens every single year. And God Bless America. Keep in mind that this was started by immigrants like about 100 years ago. And they would pray for a novena, which is like 9 days, to pray for protection not only of the fishermen out at sea, but to pray for the safety of all our soldiers who were going to war. So it's very patriotic, and it's very much grounded and founded on immigrants coming to the United States to build their lives here. That is what America is. There were pride parades too. There was one in Salem on Saturday. I got stuck in traffic trying to go to work, but it was very well attended. So Kathy, did you work out the
I don't
sound
know.
issues?
No, I'm still hearing it.
Is there another device on?
No.
Okay.
Let me change my microphone.
Yeah, that might be it. So another thing I want to talk about tonight, and thanks for all your appreciation of the festival, is that I don't want to read on the bill, on the murder bill.
Okay, how's this? Nope, I'm still hearing it.
I don't understand why that would be. I mean, it wouldn't make any sense, but if I unplug my mic, maybe. Sometimes technology doesn't make sense. Are you hearing an echo?
All right, how's this? Nope.
You're not hearing an echo right now?
Not as bad. No, I'm not hearing it.
I just unplugged my microphone. I don't know why you were hearing yourself echoing. So
maybe your mic was picking me up.
Possibly.
It's so strange.
We just, so trial and error. All right, so I just got through saying that I am not going to read on whether this bill is going to pass. And the reason for that is because it doesn't really matter. And the reason I'm saying it doesn't really matter is because these people are not leaders and they have no business writing bills that will kill people. Right? We need to get the whole enchilada out. So they can do whatever they're going to do. It's all unreasonable.
I agree.
And so if you hear the bill passed, you know, I want to address the punch to the gut feeling. Fascism needs you to feel that. Right, Kathy?
Yeah.
They need you to feel the punch to the gut. And I actually was listening to, it sounded like it was a little bit AI generated, but Noam Chomsky, do you ever listen to him?
I know who he is. I
don't ever listen to him, but I did listen to this one, and he spoke about all the sort of trademarks of an attempted fascist takeover, and that's all that Dumpy and all his minions and, you know, cohorts have been doing. And it just everything, like the American flag lost its meaning. There's certain phrases that they say all the time. They use intimidation and fear, and they try to pretend that they're powerful, and they're not. But they win when we believe that they're powerful and when we act as though they're powerful. Listen to E. Jean Carroll talking about seeing Dumpy, she calls him Trump, but I love calling him Dumpy, in court. He's a big, fat, elderly person that really doesn't exude power. He exudes weakness. They pretend they're powerful. Yes, exactly, Carl. But these monsters are just whine baby cowards in the end. Absolutely. We need to be in that mindset. Noam Chomsky, I don't really know him. I haven't really listened to him.
It's Noam, N-O-A-M.
Yeah, it's N-O-A-M.
He's a linguist.
Yeah.
Among other things.
But I, you know, when I find an interesting, intriguing title of something that is something I want to check out, I do listen no matter who it is. And the things that I'm gravitating towards are any headlines or titles that don't do this. If I see, shocker, I am not watching it. I don't care who it is. We don't need that. We need level heads and not sensationalism. All right, I'm off my soapbox temporarily. What do you have to say about all this?
I don't want to address whether the bill is going to pass or not, but I would like to talk a little bit about the extraordinary atmosphere that this is occurring in. astrologically.
Yep.
And there's a concept called a void of course moon.
Yep.
And it's when the moon has made her last major aspect before she leaves a sign. So most of this week is really weird because the moon is going to be void of course more often than not. It's going void tonight. It's going void tomorrow night, Wednesday, well, actually late afternoon. And then it goes void middle of the afternoon Eastern time on Wednesday, and it will be void all day Thursday, the 3rd,
Oh.
and not change signs until the morning of the 4th. Here's why this is important. When the moon is void of course, there's a kind of weird, mushy atmosphere. It's a good time to do things that you know you're going to have to do again. It's a good time to wash your dishes, do your laundry, do your bookkeeping. It's not a good time to launch things out into the world. And the reason is that stuff tends to not work out the way you think if you push it through during a void moon. And sometimes it unravels if you push it through during a void moon. So I looked at Thursday, the 3rd, being void all day, and my reaction was, if that's the day that the House shoves the vote through, it's not going to work out the way they think. And it might be easier to unravel it than the rest of us think.
So, I heard that they're voting on it tonight. Was that?
That's the Senate. Here's what has to happen.
Oh.
The Senate has a wildly different version of the bill than the House. It's much more murderous. So whatever the Senate passes has to go back to the House. And then the House has to fight to try to reconcile its bill with what, that's why it's a reconciliation bill. They have to reconcile the two bills into something. And
yeah, I keep saying it going back and forth. I keep
yes. So it's entirely possible that, I mean, I doubt it's going to fall apart completely. But if anything this week happens that looks definitive, know that it's going to unravel.
That's the energy that I keep. That's why I keep saying I'm not going to read on yes, is it going to pass, or no, is it going to pass. It just because it feels like it's irrelevant in a certain way. It doesn't have any real like what you're saying. It can unravel. And tonight is the void of course moon too, right?
Yeah. So the House, the Senate might. Let me see exactly when it's going to go. Well, see if I can get it onto my.
Yeah,
Hakeem Jeffries is asking me for money. Gee, imagine.
For what? What's he gonna do for you?
Yeah, really. Is it on?
I have a little book here too, and it looks like
it's on my other phone. Come on, calendars.
It's not void of course tonight, but tomorrow night it is.
Yeah, it's tomorrow night, and then also
Wednesday night.
It goes until Friday morning. And then
so the
Friday,
the moon is void of course from tomorrow night till Friday morning?
Yes. It's void of course the entire day on Thursday.
I've never heard of that. I'm not an astrologer.
Oh, no, it's not impossible. And the reason is that the moon is in a sign that isn't making any major. I mean, there is a planet currently parked at the very end of its sign, but the moon isn't going to make a major aspect to it because the moon's going to be in Libra, which doesn't have a major aspect to Taurus. So the moon goes void of course pretty early on during the day because there isn't anything else out there it can make a major aspect with.
Now, there were other things that happened on a void of course moon. I mean, off the top of your head, you probably don't remember, but the eclipses and void of course moon I don't know. I get the sense that there's been that kind of interference with things that kind of muddle things. Eclipses are clarifying, right? And releasing.
Or they reset things.
Yeah.
But the best example of this I have, I mean, a void of course moon is one of those times when you text people, you phone them, you email them, and nobody gets back to you because everyone's just kind of someplace else. It feels sometimes like everyone's brain is stuffed with cotton. Not a bad sensation these days.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the best example I have of this
Yeah.
is years ago, I was representing a nonprofit that was having some difficulty working something out with the recreation department of a town where it was doing everything for this one facility that had been donated to the town. And we finally got a meeting with the mayor and with the heads of all of these different agencies. And we spent an entire afternoon hashing out the agreement. And then I got a phone call. About 2 weeks later, they finally ran it by the city attorney and discovered that what we had done had not lined up with municipal ordinances. So the whole thing had to be redone. And I almost cracked up on the phone because then I looked at my calendar and went, "Oh, yeah.
Void of course.
The moon was void, of course." And
I find that's funny. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't very pleasant then, but I find that when the moon is void of course, I'm like trying to get things done, and then it just doesn't gel.
yes.
And those are the days that I'm just like, you know, when you just feel like nothing came together in a day, and then you're like, oh, let's just write off this day
Well,
and start
so
more.
again, do something that you know you're going to have to redo. It's really made for that. Like some kind of repetitive thing, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
wash the dishes at
Yeah. Do your laundry. Yeah.
do your laundry,
I'm still
you know,
cleaning.
take it easy, do little things.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still organizing and cleaning, so it's good for that. So
Mhm.
everyone take advantage of the void of course moon in that way.
But there's a second piece to this. All right. So we've got these kind of weird stuff might not play out at all the way they think it will vibe all week long. And
That's
then,
good.
yeah, right. And then on Friday, on the 4th of July, we have an insane sequence of astrological events.
It does look
And
busy.
on my, yeah, so in my forecast, I talked about this is not a day of declaring independence, it's a day of experiencing independence.
Wow.
It's the last exact contact to Uranus in Taurus before it changes sign. So Uranus has been parked at the very end of Taurus, where it has been since 2018. The last time Uranus was in Taurus in the 30s, all kinds of social safety nets were put in place, like Social Security, the Securities Exchange Commission. There's a whole bunch of other ones. And now, as Uranus is on the brink of leaving the sign in its next time around, we have this legislation that would dismantle pretty much everything that was put together in the 30s. So all of the FDR era stuff.
Yeah.
So so two things. Early on the 4th, like around before 9:00 Eastern time, Venus, the planet that rules money, the planet that rules what we value, the planet that rules women, fuses with Uranus and then changes signs, moves into Gemini, which is many things. It's multitasking, it's many options. And there's a really interesting 1, 2, 3, 4 happening from the 4th to the 7th. First, there's this explosive Venus-Uranus meeting. Anything could happen. That could be the bill passing, getting signed, blowing up the economy, and then very quickly other possibilities coming into place. It could be who knows what. There's an anything could happen vibe to it. As soon as Venus moves into Gemini, the whole atmosphere changes. Things lighten. People start to see many possibilities. People are motivated to consider many, many, many options. A couple of days later, on the 7th, Uranus leaves Taurus and moves into Gemini where it was during the 40s. So it was there in 1941 on to like 41 to 48 or 49. And so this anything could happen energy moves into the sign of multiplicity, of curiosity, of many options, of multitasking, of doing this, doing that. And as it does that, Venus, which rules women, which rules money, links exactly with Pluto in Aquarius. That's a lot of detail, but the bottom line is something explosive and sudden and startling leads to lots and lots and lots of talk about lots and lots of possibilities, and very probably women coming to the fore and some real inspirational female leader or leaders, plural, showing up really fast and things getting really serious about money and values really, really quickly. So this long holiday weekend into the first full week of July changes the equation completely.
So, and Venus and Gemini, I can't help but think that Dumpy is a Gemini, and then Uranus and Gemini. It feels like it would hit him. I don't know. I'm just a psychic.
Not immediately, but yeah, Cheryl Clark, you got my hint, didn't you? You got my hint. So,
yeah, it's pretty easy.
The last. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention is it's the first contact that Venus is going to make after it goes over into Gemini is it's going to have a collaboration with Saturn and Neptune at the beginning of Aries. Every time a planet has touched those guys since Neptune moved into Aries at the end of March, an inspirational figure has stepped forward and ignited people. The first one was Cory Booker, then Letitia James, then the new Pope, and Kamala coming back in the scene. I swear to God, after this weekend, she is going to be on fire and in our faces, and there may be more than just her.
We need to hear from her. And by the way, whenever I read recently, women come up in the cards. Women, there's women everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I just got my flag. It's in the other room that says, elect more women. I have like 3 new banners on my deck. I'm going to put a 4th one up there soon. Also, Neptune, because I have my little astrology book
Neptune
here.
Also stations retrograde on the 4th.
What does that mean?
Well, I wouldn't ordinarily pay any attention to Neptune stationing retrograde, except it's just a few months into the very beginning of Aries. So what's going to happen is we're now going to like go back over what's been going on since March 30th. And just so everyone understands, this fall, we're going to slide back into old energy for a couple of months to clean up a bunch of things. So at the beginning of September, Saturn's going to go back into Pisces. In October, Neptune will go back into Pisces. In November, Uranus will go back into Taurus. And then next year, one at a time, they'll scoot into the signs they've been in this summer, and then it's all systems go. In July, all of the outer planets are in a collaboration at the very beginning of signs in a blend of energy we have not lived through. So this is rewriting the script time. This is blowing out the carbon, kicking the walls out, doing
Well,
things radically different.
when you say we go back to, it sounds like we go back to like backwards in the fall.
Well, I wouldn't say so much backwards as there are a few loose ends to clean up
We
that
sure
are
have
going
a
to,
lot of loose ends to clean up. We have a ton.
and they tie back to last fall, the end of last year. They tie back to the end of 2024.
So have you looked at that this time that we're in has similar, did you read Rachel Maddow's books about the almost rise of fascism in the United States in the 40s?
I heard her podcast. I heard her podcast about it.
She has a book called Prequel. I think that was the
Right.
first
I
one.
heard her podcast about it.
It's an excellent book.
Mm-hmm.
And it talks about the rise of fascism in the United States. And even the Vatican was kind of in on it. It was a real dark side to the Vatican. So during that time, like we flirted with fascism, and fascism almost took hold. So I'm wondering if there are, and you may have already mentioned, if there are astrological aspects that sort of predict that this could be us flirting with fascism again.
Well, we do have this one. Okay, you can look at these cycles as a bunch of concentric circles or gear wheels inside each other, and they move at differing times and speeds. And this is one time when they're all lining up.
Yeah.
Tying certain periods of time together. And the 40s is one with Uranus in Taurus, but Uranus has been in Taurus since 2018, where it was in the 30s. So we've had that. And it's moving into where it was when the US got into World War II. However, Saturn wasn't part of the picture in the way that it is then. And you'll hear people say, oh, well, Neptune is going to where it was when the Civil War started. But Saturn wasn't part of the picture then in the way it is now. And the same, people will also say, okay, so Pluto is where it was when the Revolutionary War started. All true, but Saturn's doing something differently now. And when Saturn and Neptune have traveled together, they have brought cohesiveness to ideology, brought it down, and they've tended to coincide with huge gear shifts in power and structure in Russia and huge moments of spreading political power sideways instead of it being top heavy, starting with Athens before 600 BC.
Wow.
So go that far back. It also coincides with the Magna Carta, which was when the nobles said to the king, no, you don't.
Right.
So there are various other times that fit in with it. So yes, there are some really volatile, big influences that tie to some pretty dramatic times in US history, but the way they're combining now is to create something new. So if you look at everything that's been going on as massive, long-standing corruption coming to a head, coming to the surface, and institutions being eaten out from the inside, then we've got the immediate energy to write things in a different way. And it doesn't have to be autocracy. And in fact, more often than not, when Saturn and Neptune have traveled together, it has been the opposite of autocracy. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Magna Carta, you said, is basically was saying no to the king, and we have the no kings rally.
Right.
So
and it basically said you have the right to a trial. You can't just be. That's where the concept habeas corpus came from, which is by what right do you have my body?
Right. Exactly. A lot going on in that whole realm. was highly disturbing. So the Neptune going retrograde doesn't have anything but earth shattering.
No, really, it's just an opportunity to tie a bunch of loose ends together. Tie them together. So this summer we're test driving where the energies are going to go, and then we'll put things in place.
So how long is it retrograde? Neptune.
Which one? Oh, Neptune. Hold on.
Like it's a big planet, so.
Well, all the outer planets have their periods. Neptune is retrograde until early December, till December 10.
So personally, what could we expect with Neptune being retrograde?
Well, for one thing, as long as it's still in Aries, you'll have an opportunity to kind of look at things that have been going on since the beginning of April. And let me see exactly when it shifts back into Pisces. It re-enters Pisces. Hold on.
I'm less comfortable with the Piscean energy than the fire energy.
Well, here's the deal. It sat. Why am I not seeing when it re-enters Pisces? Come on. It sat. Hold on. Why do I not have this on I make this list at the beginning of the year of all the big stuff. When it re-enters Pisces, we're going to get the final cleanup of that big mess in the end of March. There was a gigantic pileup of planets at the end of Pisces at the end of March.
Right.
So we have the final, there can be something very unifying in this as well, because Neptune's going to be sitting at 29 degrees Pisces, which is the most interconnected spot in the entire zodiac. It's where everything is part of. So I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing at all.
Well, in my mind, just from all the times we've done shows, what sticks in my mind about Neptune and Pisces is the delusional way of seeing things. The smoke and mirrors thing. Like what you call it, the cosmic fog.
Yeah, the cosmic fog. Clarity. It rules, but we'll have a lot of clarity by then. And so this could be a period of dissolving a whole bunch of stuff. I almost said weird.
December?
So it moves into Pisces on the near the end of October, like the 20th or so, and it's there until early December. So we got 6 weeks of it.
But it's in Aries now.
Yeah.
So Neptune retrograde in the sign of Aries.
And it's going to slide back into the last degree of Pisces.
In December.
In October. And then in December, it will station direct. It'll re-enter Aries, I think, next year.
So anyway, when you do an overview of what's happening, what's your general sense?
I think a lot of things break apart this summer. A lot of things break apart. It's like we're in a centrifuge and things go flying this way and that way. And then things slowly calm down. My metaphor I've been using for the fall is in September, it's like this crazy amusement park ride. Somebody pauses they hit the air brakes and it starts to slow down. And then the air brakes get hit again in October. And then they get hit again just before Thanksgiving. And then in December, we sit and go, all right, where do we want to go? And do a whole bunch of project management. And then we zoom forward again. So it's a way, the fall is going to be regrouping and figuring out what we're going to do with and about everything that blows open and apart this summer.
So this is a summer of everything blowing open and apart and being revealed, do you think?
I think we're in a big stretch of things being revealed now. There's another time that Yes, being revealed, and we're moving into our next Mercury retrograde. Mercury currently is traveling. It's starting to go over where Mars was for a really, really long time. And this past weekend was, I thought, a time when something really major could come out about playing with machines. So far, I haven't seen a revelation that quite hit the mark for what I thought could be there. But so we'll have a period of seeing a bunch of stuff that's been going on in July as Mercury is retrograde in the sign of Leo, and as it retrogrades, it's going to move across somebody's Sun, Sun, and somebody's Pluto, both of which are in the 12th house of criminality. So there could be stuff coming to light about what the top of the ticket has been up to.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
So I didn't mean to get so deep in the weeds about the astrology here, but I would agree with you on that.
Yeah, thank you, Zircon, for your shout out. All right, so now I'm in the weeds. And here's why. Because everything has been just falling apart. It's just like we can't get a grip. It feels like everything's very slippery and we can't get a grip on anything. That can be a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, it's good for the psychic business, right? Because, when all else fails, check with the psychic. Or maybe check with the psychic first. So we're all looking for some semblance of something tangible to kind of glom onto. And here's the thing about the elections and the machines. I feel like it's all out there. This is my psychic impression. It's all out there. The evidence that he cheated to get in is all out there. But I think it's being hidden. And I'm not sure. I'd have to look into it further, but I'm not sure who would be making sure that it's being hidden and how they would do that. But anyway, Elon, I think might reveal something. If you have any charts about anything that you've looked at recently that you want to kind of like, did you have a revelation about somebody? I was asking you about Pam Bondi, and we're talking about. I'm just talking about the election right now. I do think
the thing about Bondi is the middle of July. Either someone's going to really come after her, or she'll be amplifying whatever she's up to right now.
Have you heard her in these hearings? Have you listened to any of her in these hearings? It is like the person that you just. I'm not saying actually, but you just want to stop it, right? She's so disrespectful. No decorum at all. Doesn't answer a question. Goes completely off topic. Starts talking about Joe Biden when they're asking her about, detention centers and all that. I don't see how these blatantly horrible excuses for human beings can be in the positions that they're in and nothing has happened. So I think that maybe astrologically we're all looking for like the big blow up, which we keep feeling is coming. I don't mean literally, but
I've seen stuff for everybody, and I don't know why it has not happened. I would say that she's past her moment of, she's riding her power, and it's not going to be what it was, if that makes sense. She's like at the peak of what she's going to be able to pull off.
Well, she's in a powerful position, but she's not a powerful human.
No, and a lot of stuff's going to start coming at her in the middle of July. Things are going to start getting really dicey with Elon right after the 4th.
And Pam's getting ready to revoke citizenships from people. I'm just reading that.
Yes, she's going to fast track revoking naturalization.
So I guess what we're looking for as far as a blow up of everything, not literally.
I have I have been seeing aspects consistently that could have made everything collapse. I cannot explain why they're still standing. There's got to be more going on.
Well, I think that the collective energy is bought into the saddest story ever. Let me just ask my pendulum. Is the collective energy contributing to us not having the off-ramps work? Not entirely.
Okay. I will say that this big explosive aspect that's happening on the 4th of July is pressurizing Trump and Vance's charts in a huge way.
You had mentioned
And
that.
and there are a couple of ways it could play out. It could be something that blows up for both of them, and there could still be a period of time before something happens. It could be, and I hate to say this, it could be in the slight difference of how it's playing out between them, one of them exiting the picture and the other one stepping in, but I don't see that he would do it very long. And I personally don't see Vance becoming the president. But
Let's
this
ask
lineup,
the pendulum. All right, now I don't think that Dumpy is long for this world because he's so unhealthy. He's just so clearly unhealthy. Will JD be president? No.
so there's something else coming that is extraordinarily explosive in terms of both of them.
Well, let's ask some questions. Go ahead. Gun them at me.
Well, there's one other thing I want to throw into this.
Okay.
It's also going to blow up Tulsi Gabbard's chart.
Well, is she out?
Are we at the point where Tulsi's going to leave one way or the other? That's a question for the pendulum. Are we at the point that Tulsi will leave?
I already did ask about this and I've gotten a yes.
Because it would be completely appropriate. I mean, I put this aspect against a bunch of charts, and the three that it's activating are hers, Trump's, and Vance's. So
which aspect?
That Venus, Uranus, because there's a fixed star named Algol, which is the Medusa, the head. It's something, it's close to this. So it's part of it. It's part of the configuration. The exact conjunction is Venus. And so is something dramatic and explosive going to happen this weekend that affects both of these people?
That's weekend? The question.
Yes.
Oh, because I keep thinking the second week of July.
Well, there probably, but is there something on the 4th that's going to be pivotal in playing this out?
Okay, that's a question. Is there going to be fireworks on the 4th? It's kind of, sort of.
Kind of, sort of.
Not clear.
Not clear. Will there be before July 10? Will there be something pivotal affecting
before July 10th? Is something pivotal going to happen? Yes.
Okay.
Now you've got my curiosity.
Is Elon going to say something? Because as soon as Uranus moves into Gemini, it is going to set some things off in his chart, and he could have a little, there are a couple of ways this could play out. His role in one of his companies could get threatened, and he could lash out. There could be a substance that he ingests that causes him to be even more erratic and to blurt information, particularly about electronics. So is Eli going to disclose something in July?
Strong yes. Mm-hmm. I wonder if he just gets mad and has a temper tantrum and just blurts it out. Let me ask that. Does he get mad and have a temp? I get a yes on that.
If this bill goes through, it destroys us economically
Right,
because
and right.
and it in him.
It
So
destroys
because
them.
it's taking away any motivation to build for the future.
Here's the
It's all.
crazy thing. Yeah, and here's the crazy thing. That these oligarchs think that this would be good for them.
It isn't. It isn't.
But if the whole country is broke, I mean like Great Depression era style broke, how are they going to get us to spend money on their goods and services?
Yeah, I've wondered.
I mean that's just perplexing to me. Maybe I should pull some cards.
Well, so here's the question I have for you on this is, why are they going along with this bill?
Who's they?
Why is the GOP shoving this through? Why? When
That
they're
is a very good question.
Why is the GOP shoving this through?
All right, we could ask a few questions. Is it okay? Is it cult mind control? It isn't. I'm surprised. I thought it would say yes.
Have people been threatened?
I've always thought that.
Well, yeah, but
About the bill, are they receiving death threats? Not all of them. No, kind of, sort of, but that's not really the main thing.
so as I see these things and I look at, why would we hobble our ability to
Function?
cutting out the electric cars and all those things, and I can only see one. It benefits China. It benefits Russia.
It's not sustainable at all, and Russia
No.
has lost this war. I don't know when it's going to come out, but Russia has lost this war. So let me remember, back in 2018, on the 4th of July, there were Republicans that shipped themselves to the Kremlin. It kind of goes back to that, right? And all this, like, on July 4th, it's always around the 4th of July. They do something heinous. Let me ask this. Like, July 1st, the Supreme Court said he had presidential immunity. So, is the reason that the GOP is trying to push this through because of the Kremlin in any way? Yes. Yeah, they're in cahoots. That's very definite. They're in cahoots with Russia. Well, but I could. Are they not? Are they under cult mind control? No. Is there money in it? Is there money in it for them? Oh my God, the greed.
Mm-hmm.
It would destroy the country. I keep going back to the headline that I have for my Substack, and I made a sign. Dear Trump, destroy America, love Putin.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bottom line. And everything is in the process of being destroyed. And I mean, they left no stone unturned. None. I'm not saying it's going to hold because it's not sustainable. And I believe in a higher power and a higher intelligence that is not going to let us destroy the planet to the point where it's uninhabitable. I
I
don't
agree.
feel that's going to happen. I don't feel that we can really go backwards. It's like telling a child to stop growing, you know? We can't go backwards. It defies universal law to go backwards. And I just want to say about that topic, about not going backwards, all weekend, it really struck me. I saw every single, and these big crowds of people, every single time I came across guys that are like high school age, they were like together. They were there was a group of them like dancing around. There's a obviously handicapped person that was their age, maybe a classmate. They're dancing around him. There was such like joy, young men, and the support that I saw in the sporting events of these young men who are really kind of the torch is being passed to them. They have a level of maturity and awareness that this is psychically what I'm picking up on, and even from their behavior. This generation is a wise generation coming up. Don't let anybody kid you. And then, besides the fact, I could not believe in a good way how happy and peaceful and high vibe and wonderful. And there were thousands of people here for 5 days. Not one problem at all. My point is that people are awake. The mainstream media and all those who want, fascism to take hold are not reading the room, because that is not where we are. They had a pride parade in Salem on Saturday. Couldn't get a parking spot for the longest time, but because of the pride parade on Saturday, and it was wonderful, and the energy was so light and bright. I don't know if anybody else is observing this, but if you're not, go look. Do you know what I mean? We are not in a place of, yes, we hate one another, but they're trying to feed that to us. They literally are banking on us being so hateful and so vitriolic, and that's such a small percentage of the population. It's always been there. It always will be there, likely. I don't think we'll ever be free of it. But this is not a time of darkness. They're trying to sell us this whole bill of goods of darkness and hatred and not caring about one another, and it's not going to fly. And that's my little soapbox for
I had an experience like that Thursday. I went into New York City and I went to a musical that's a reinvention of Pirates of Penzance. Pirates, the Penzance musical. And it was silly and insane and high energy, and Jinx Monsoon plays the female role. I started crying watching what Jinx is doing, because that performer has carved a completely mainstream career for herself. Well, I mean, she still does some strange stuff, but still, and the final number, the Pirate King, who's from the Caribbean, says to the Major General, "Go back to where you came from." And the Major General stopped and said, "We're all from someplace else." And the theater went berserk.
I love it. See? We're getting
screaming and
yes, exactly. We're a nation of immigrants. You can't walk in any place, any city, town, USA, you can't really avoid that we're all immigrants, right? Where you live, where I live, most of us are grandchildren of immigrants, right? Unless you're Native American. So
well, and as this musical pointed out, the indigenous population came here from other continents.
Right, that's true too.
So I went, oh, you people really are just dotting you're getting them all.
It's just ridiculous what they're trying to do, and we really need to be in that mindset. You all are ridiculous. Like, remember when Nancy Pelosi pointed to the other side of the room on the House floor and pointed to the MAGAs in the room and said, "Look at you, you're all miserable." I just love that, because it's true. They're all miserable. They want people to suffer. We're not going to suffer. We're not. We're not going to be thrust into suffering.
Just keep gravitating to the energy of the kind of world you want to live in. Now, there are a couple of comments in the comments I want to address. Someone asked me to mention Iran put a fatwa on Trump and Bibi yesterday. So they have a murder fatwa on their heads. Okay.
What's a fatwa? I don't know what that is.
Oh, it is what's the phrase of putting this? So the Iranian, they have committed a sin against God. They are evil. They are enemies of God, basically. And it's an invitation to any good Muslim to kill them. Salman Rushdie, the author, lived under a fatwa for a long, long time because of a book he wrote. So, Iran has issued a religious death sentence on Trump and Netanyahu, but Trump specifically for stuff that he said about the Ayatollah. online.
And that was a while ago, right? Because
no, that was yesterday. This all happened. That happened yesterday.
Oh, it's a double bounty.
The what happened yesterday. So that's thing one. Thing two, people were saying, what about Anonymous? Now, Anonymous has dropped a bunch of videos, but it's not what they said they were going to. So the big leak hasn't happened. I've watched Anonymous's latest videos, and there's one that's just a recap of the evidence that's already out there about Trump and women and human trafficking and Epstein. And then there's one that's about the evidence that's already out there about the election. But Anonymous promised early in June that it would be releasing something really that was going to say a lot more than this. So I don't think Anonymous has said what I don't think Anonymous has said what it's going to say yet.
I think that it's getting swept under the rug. I think it's out there, but I just see it being like whisked away really quickly.
Well, I think Anonymous is going to actually start detailing stuff about Trump's crimes.
And then Elon too. Let's check the pendulum. Is Anonymous going to? Well, I'm thinking about election. You're thinking about all the crimes. He's such.
No. They're what they said they would have some big dump early in July.
Are they going to have a big information dump early in July? It looks like yes. Pretty clear yes.
And they're hackers, so who knows what they got into?
All right, so let's see. Somebody's saying, Dancing Warrior, well, that fatwa would explain the barricades. They have all these barricades around the White House, apparently?
They're non-scalable fences around the White House and the Treasury.
What the hell do they think is going to climb a fence? I mean,
their people would. There's precedent.
The MAGAs?
There's precedent.
Dumpy's very afraid for his life. I would agree with that. So why are they what? Waiting. So why are they waiting? We're not going to get into when and all that. All right. So this week we can just it's a mishmash, right? This week is a mishmash. I'm going to ask one more question about the collective. Can the collective mind, that's all of us thinking the same thing, cause accountability to happen more quickly? Yes. So everybody, don't watch the bad news. If you want to be part of the solution energetically, be in the reality, make the mental equivalent in your mind of us getting our democracy back stronger. So we can't be thinking about, all those Dems, they're so weak. They get weaker if you think that. And so
they have delayed this. They've done what they could. They have thrown so many monkey wrenches into it. They have gotten stuff stripped out of the bill that shouldn't have been there. The Dems have been on this. So there.
I do feel like he's going to go. Let's speed it up by visualizing it. I do see him being arrested, and I'm just going to stick with that by our military. I'm going to stick with that because I want that. And I want all of these criminals out of our government and replaced with, there's so many good people in this country. There's so many good, brilliant, intelligent people. And this is very, very, very urgent that we're all involved. This is a time to, I don't want to sound like Dumpy, like never before. But this is a time that nobody alive can tell you where we've been at such a risk of losing our democracy. Except maybe the Revolutionary War, but they founded our democracy, so that doesn't even count. Yeah, so I have meditations out there on Thursday nights. The last one this past week was pre-recorded. That's under the videos. This week is going to be, I'll be walking in a parade. I don't know what I'm going to be doing yet, but something about democracy on the 3rd. So I'll pre-record a guided meditation for Healed America on this Thursday also. So we won't meet at 7. But use the metaphysical tricks of the trade, right? Visualize, visualize, visualize. I really do. I get all the time that the off ramps haven't happened because people get mired in fear, and fear is the enemy. Like
There have been
FDR
so many
said.
of them. So many off ramps.
Yeah, yeah. So take it from us. There's been lots and lots of off ramps. Let's visualize it working.
And if that's too charged or loaded, visualize me in my car driving up to Gloucester to celebrate with Annette and us being online together looking at you, okay? Because
yes,
that will happen.
we're gonna do that before the fiesta. You're coming up next year, right?
Yeah, I'll come up for the fiesta, but no, before then. I'll be there.
Before that. Okay, so just letting the cat out of the bag a little bit. We are planning an event when Kamala gets in.
But even before that, when it all falls apart,
when it all falls
I want
apart,
to come walk the Freedom Trail in Boston with you.
Oh yeah, for sure. When it's just when the decks have been cleared of all of these heinous, horrible monsters, we're gonna have an event at the hotel. All right, and you all can come. Just to feed you a little more inspiration to think about those things. Okay, well this was spontaneous. This is our PNN for tonight. I invited Kathy to join us. It was very informative. Thank you. And I feel like, just coming away from this tonight, I feel like the energy is malleable. I feel like we can get the energy and we can mold it the way that we want it to be. And, like I keep mentioning over the weekend, to see people dancing and laughing and smiling and being loving and having fun, I was reminded that you're never alone. There are always people out there that will have your back, even if you don't know them. And Sabrina's saying people in Ukraine with bombs going off all around them are sitting and drinking tea and eating lunch and doing their best to enjoy what life they have. Yeah. We can find our inner Ukrainian and, stand up for this country. Okay. I'll let you go. You want to let everyone know what you're up to?
Oh, okay. My site's empowermentunlimited.net. I have a big orange stripe near the top. Talks about Saturn and Neptune. I have a 54-minute video where I take them through history, going back to, I swear to you, the dawn of civilization. And I track themes of that. I'll send you the video. But I track themes of stuff that has happened when Saturn's been in Aries, when Neptune has been in Aries, and when Saturn and Neptune have traveled together. And so you can see, and you can come away from it going, okay, this makes sense, this makes sense, this makes sense. So it's a mere $20, and it's all in English. It's not in astrological jargon.
Oh, okay, that's helpful because sometimes I get lost in the weeds.
Right. So there's that. I have lots and lots and lots of political astrology videos up on my YouTube channel, Professional Aquarian, and I did a long one with Dabney Lawless last Friday.
That was good. I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, talking about what the Venus Uranus conjunction on the 4th might bring, and looking at what it's doing to a couple of people's charts. And so this week's political astrology video will come out on Thursday because I will not be working on the 4th. So I'm going to do it on Thursday. Yeah,
we're kind of bumping things around because of the holiday. Mm-hmm. Make it about saving our democracy, everybody. It's the 4th of July, my goodness. And what's cool about that is I've marched in the parades for 2 years in a row, and I was the only one that had anything to do with democracy. How sad is that? So I'm going to post on Facebook that I'm going to be at the start of the parade, whoever wants to join me with signs and everything. So maybe you all can do that too. All right. So psychicandnetion.com is where you go to book a session. Every day I have Off the Ledge, and Kathy gives us an astrological forecast to just keep us on track. And I'm doing pop-ups daily whenever possible. So PNN pop-ups, Off the Ledge daily, and live stream PNN Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern, as you all know. We appreciate you all being here. Thank you. That Michael wants to have a group hug. Okay, we'll have a group hug. That we are all holding a vision for him being out and all the criminals along with him. And that Ukraine wins the war. 1, 2, 3. Group hug! All right, you guys, that's a nice group hug. I can feel it. With that, thank you, thank you. See you again really soon. Namaste. Bye. Share. Thumbs up. See ya.